Today's video, we're going to use a new piece of technology to help you get a better wrist angle at the top of the swing for more compressed, solid, tour-like iron shots.
Shaun Webb here with my good buddy Mike Granado with Athletic Motion Golf. If you haven't already, click the big subscribe button. If you do that and leave a comment, we're giving away free swag every week, but you have to be a subscriber to win.
That's right. All right, Shaun, let's get to the meat of it. So what do we got here on your wrist?
This is the Hack Motion wrist sensor.
So it's a sensor here on your wrist, a little wire connecting it, and then a sensor on the top of your hand. And you can measure flexion, extension.
Yeah, so flexion of the left wrist, extension, which is just bending it back on yourself. You can think of flexion as arching.
Right.
And you can think of radial up and ulnar down, so the up and down motion, like wrist cock and uncock. Let's keep it simple.
And then we've got our ISO app.
Yeah, iOS app for the phone.
ISO, I'm not sure what that is.
I don't know either, but that's fine. And it's talking to...
Right, so I can see him. So let's go, tell me what you think is a flat left wrist. Let's kind of show it to the camera here.
That'd be, flat-ish right there. I would be playing in that position.
That's 19 degrees towards the cup.
Okay.
Okay, so this looks like a pretty flat left wrist. All right, so that's 23 degrees. Let's keep going until I show them what a flat is. That's the opposite way. So let's do that again. Let's go, just go to the top.
Okay.
That's flat right there.
Okay.
That looks pretty arched. Is that comfortable?
I'm trying to twist it more with my right. It's okay. It's a little more comfortable to be a little open, but
right.
I mean a little bit cupped, but I think I have a tendency to play a little too open. So it probably would help me to feel a little more twist on that.
We actually see in the initial data that we've collected with our good players, our tour players, that there is a little bit, now again, we're talking about degrees. There is a little bit of cup at this is measuring. Now let's remove the hand, the club.
Yep.
And just show the camera here with your hand like this, your hand flat, so we can see the difference. All right, that's minus 12.
Wow, okay.
So raise it up a little bit. That's minus 2, so that's pretty darn flat. Now let's go up to 14. That's 20. So very sensitive piece of equipment here, and that would certainly be an acceptable range of motion at the top of the swing.
Absolutely. So to me, the idea of trying to do this
very difficult.
Is and not only that, when I do it, I feel some wrist pain. So if you've been trying to really bow the wrist, a la Dustin Johnson or some of these guys, I would be very careful of that because you really could start to damage your wrist.
Absolutely.
And you don't need to do that, right? So most of the data you've collected from tour players has a slight cupping.
Yeah, you were pretty much right in the range. I think it was 14 if I remember right. So now let's go to the top again. Now what do we see a lot from our AMs?
Okay, a cupped left wrist.
Yes, so that is now 54 degrees.
So when you're there, you can almost think of this motion here as direct correlation with the club face, right? Flexion and extension directly correlates with how open the face is. So if you get someone 50 degrees, that person is so open, they usually will come over the top and make a compensation.
That's a lot more. So obviously, let's say if we went square down here at the bottom or a flat left wrist at the bottom.
Okay.
That's a lot. 54 degrees is a lot to undo.
Oh my God, especially in a short period of time.
Yes. So there's a direct correlation of impact to the top. You either have more work to do or you have less work to do in basically the same window of time.
Absolutely. So for those of you, Mike and I have been talking about this a lot, for those of you that do have an excessive cupped left wrist, there's something else that ties in here, and it also measures this. You may have too much wrist cock or radial deviation of the wrist. So you may be adding too much of this motion, which is a coupled motion. It makes the wrist actually cup even worse.
So let's take a face-on view here at the camera and go to the top of the backswing, kind of a short. So Shaun wants a longer backswing, and he's just physically limited to make that turn. A way we can get this club to go longer, and we see this all the time, is he really cups the left wrist, the club gets longer, it gets really weak and bouncy.
Yeah, and the left wrist, in order to do that, I'm limited in my range of motion when I have it fairly flat. As soon as I cup it, I bring in another 30 degrees of motion or so. But you've sacrificed the wrist position for the club face.
Club face is tremendously weak.
Absolutely. So how about we hit a couple shots and we look at the data.
Let's take a look.
So I'm going to hit the first one with as cuppy of a wrist as I can get, and I'm not gonna undo it.
Okay.
Okay. So let me hit one, and we'll talk about the ball flight. Like a flop shot, basically.
All right, so you tried to cup that at the top.
That's as much as I could feel.
Okay,
And I
and
tried
10 degrees at impact.
Okay.
So let's show the camera what 10 degrees of cupped is at impact.
Was it like that?
Well, that's 40,
Whoa.
30, 20,
Wow.
it's 15. Yeah, so it's fairly flat. Now, it's hard for a good player who's your tendency is to overlead
Oh
it.
yeah, I'm this
So
way.
I think we captured -10.
Yeah, I felt like this.
So you actually changed it 20 degrees and felt like Scoop City.
Absolutely. So let me hit one where I feel a little bit flatter.
Okay.
Because that ball flight for me was a high flop
Yes,
shot to the
yes.
right field. So if you struggle with that, having this sensor on here, we always talk about getting immediate feedback.
Right.
And now that technology is becoming so available to everybody, you can use this sensor and see, hey, if you're working on this wrist position, you can have feedback on every single swing and makes your learning speed
That's what
go
we'll do
through
in
the roof.
lessons. We'll take the iPad, prop it up right here in front of the golfer. I'll have them actually close their eyes, make backswings, and you can set tones on here and have say, okay, that feels flat and it's 40 degrees.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's letting the golfer feel and associate those feels with the reel, and it's a great way to train.
Okay, so I'm going to take this one up. Now, I stole this years ago from Harvey Pinnock. He just said, just kind of make a fist at the top with your left hand.
Okay.
If you were going to punch somebody, you would never punch somebody with your wrist angled back because you would break your wrist.
Right.
You kind of get these bones and joints lined up so you can punch.
Right.
So if I went to the top and felt a fist, let's see what that feels like. And Mike will tell me what the numbers say. That was more my normal, just pretty straight ball.
Right. Much flatter. It was 15 degrees.
15 degrees.
So we cut it in half.
Which directly correlates to the club face. So if you're struggling with face issues, you can put this hack on and basically feel exactly where the face is and learn on every swing where this
Right.
face was according to your left
Let's
wrist.
try one the other way. Let's see if you can go negative at the top.
Okay, I'll try it.
This would be visiting Dustin Johnson's neighborhood.
Okay,
All right.
you ready?
Yep.
Ouch.
Comfortable?
No.
Very difficult,
Hurt my
right?
elbow and my wrist.
Yeah, so -30 there.
Okay. Ow.
Yeah. So there's a wide range of what we would call, you all right?
No.
So there's a wide range of acceptable movement. I'd say probably close to 30 degrees up there, where you can go plus or minus 20.
Try to stay within a window though when,
Yeah.
when you're working on it.
Closer to 0, the teens would be a great number to be in. And it's really going to make the amount of work that you do or have to do on the downswing that much easier. Because again, it's a quarter of a second. If we got to come from 55 back down to somewhere around 0.
It's a lot.
Every time, every swing, that's a lot to ask of really anybody. There are players in the Hall of Fame that did that, but again, my coach used to say, you ain't one of them.
Exactly right. And we love plain vanilla.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Just make it flattish.
The
Get to
punch
impact
analogy is
pretty
great.
flat. You got the fist. Bring that down to impact. You'll be pretty flat. If you do that, the numbers are going to be correct. You're going to hit the ball pretty straight because the face is going to be square.
That's right. So a great product from Hack Motion. If you get your hands on one of these, you can contact the website, get your hands on one of these, and you have a club face issue or a wrist issue at the top, this will tune you up really quick.